A new poll out in Iowa, released by Monmouth University, has Ted Cruz up by 24%, leading Donald Trump. He is now taken first in Iowa. Now that's really, really interesting. Now the poll of likely caucus-goers in Iowa had Ted Cruz at 24%. Now that was actually a jump from 10% done in an earlier poll done in October. Now in August he was at 9%. 9%. Trump was in second at 19%, followed by Marco Rubio with 17%, and Ben Carson fallen all the way down to 13%. Now, what's interesting about this is that as Ben Carson falls, Cruz has risen to take his place. Now, Cruz, interestingly enough, he hasn't actually attacked Trump. And Trump hasn't attacked Cruz. Now, earlier we'd done a story about how Trump said, look, I like Ted Cruz. I agree with Ted Cruz on a lot of issues. But if he starts to rise in the polls, I'm going to go to war. I don't want to, but I'm going to go to war. I wonder if his recent comments on Muslims are an attempt to deflect away from Ted Cruz. This is just my own personal speculation on this poll. But think about it. Ted Cruz starts to gain in the polls. Gains in Iowa. Takes the lead in Iowa. Now, remember when Ben Carson took over in Iowa? Well, Trump went on the attack. Going after his character, calling him pathological. I mean, he really went after Carson. But you don't see the same thing. Instead, you see Trump making headlines, and trust me, he's taken all the headlines. You can't go anywhere without bumping into a story about how Donald Trump's a fucking fascist, okay? How he said this about the Muslims, how he did this, how he said that, what he wants to do, and it drowns out this poll, which is very, very telling. I look at that, and I see Donald Trump going after Cruz in his own way without actually attacking him. He can use his power with the media. Because remember, Trump's a carnival barker. He gets all sorts of attention whenever he says something ridiculous. He's trying to bury this poll. And as I said, this is my own speculation here, personal speculation. But I think this is an attempt to bury this poll. Now, do I think that Donald Trump really believes that we should shut down all the borders to the Muslims? Oh yeah, probably. I'm sure Ted Cruz probably also agrees. I mean, he hasn't exactly come out against it. But as I said, this would be a good strategy to bury Ted Cruz. And it looks like so far it's working. I'm one of the only people to report on this poll that I've seen. So, food for thought. Food for thought. But, so there you go. Ted Cruz now leading in Iowa, and I think that's got Trump really worried.